What if the greatest battle isn't fought with swords, but with strategy? What if survival depends not on strength, but on unity? And what happens when an entire nation comes to wipe you out? The desert was changing again. After Uhud, the air was heavier, not just with loss, but with warning. A new kind of threat. The enemies had learned something. Direct battle was not enough. If they wanted to end this rising community, they needed something bigger, so they united. Tribes that once fought each other now stood together. One goal, one mission: end Medina. This was not just an army, this was a coalition, over 10,000 strong, the largest force Arabia had ever seen.
Fear in Medina. When the news reached Medina, it was different this time. This was not 1,000, not 3,000. This was something unimaginable. Fear spread, not panic, but reality. How do you fight an army that size? You don't. An idea that changed everything. In the middle of uncertainty, an idea emerged, something Arabia had never seen before. Dig a trench. A foreign strategy, unfamiliar, unexpected, brilliant. A deep trench would be dug around the exposed parts of the city. Cavalry couldn't cross it. The enemy would be stopped before the battle even began.
Unity under pressure. The trench would not dig itself. Everyone worked. Young, old, strong, tired. Even the leader worked alongside them, carrying dirt, breaking rocks. No difference, no privilege. Cold winds blew. Food was scarce. Hands were blistered. But the trench grew. This was not just physical work, it was belief in action. The army arrives. Then they came, an endless line across the horizon, flags, horses, armor, power. They expected a fight. They expected fear. But what they saw stopped them. A trench. Confusion in the enemy ranks. They had never seen this before. Their horses could not cross. Their strategy meant nothing. Their numbers meant nothing. They were stuck. Days turned into nights. Nights turned into weeks. No full battle, just tension, cold, waiting. The real war begins. This was no longer a war of swords. It became a war of patience. Inside Medina, hunger, cold, uncertainty. Outside, frustration, anger, failure. The strongest army in Arabia was being held back by a trench. Pressure from within. But the danger wasn't just outside. Inside the city, trust began to shake. Alliances were tested. Some began to doubt. Some began to fear the end. This was the hardest moment. Not the enemy, but the pressure. The turning point. Then something changed. Not with weapons, not with force, with wind. A violent storm swept across the desert. Freezing winds, flying ramal. Tents collapsed. Fires died. Chaos spread through the enemy camp. They could not stay. They could not fight. They could not win.
The army retreats. And just like that, the largest army Arabia had ever seen turned back. No final battle, no direct clash, victory without fighting. A new reality. After this moment, everything changed. The enemies realized something. Medina was no longer weak. They could not be easily defeated. They could not be crushed. And from that point on, the balance of power shifted.
The lesson of the trench. This battle taught something different. Not every victory comes from strength. Some come from intelligence, from unity, from patience. And sometimes the greatest wins are the ones where no blood is shed. The road ahead. The journey was far from over, but something had changed forever. No longer were they reacting. Now they were leading. And soon they would return to the very city they were once forced to leave.